Welcome back, everybody, to the What We Talk About show. Today we have a special episode for you guys. It's about a legend, it's about a basketball god, it's about a guy who retired and then went and won himself an Oscar. We are going to be talking about the one and the only, the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. I think
Ooh, heck yeah.
where we should start off, I think, is first I just want everybody to know that we're trying to do it in a positive light, so we don't want to reminisce on him passing, and we just want to talk about what he stood for, like all the things that he stood for: motivation, leadership, Mamba mentality. Like, we want to talk about that kind of stuff and highlight it more on that. And I think the best place to start, honestly, is with Yvonne, just because Yvonne doesn't really know Kobe from an athletic perspective, but he did watch a couple of videos today about Kobe. So, I just kind of want to get Yvonne's opinion on Kobe and what he's seen so far in kind of the
Right.
study that he's done today of him.
So I agree. I feel like I don't know. I think it's pretty safe to say that I'm probably like most people. I don't know how many people who look up to Bryant or know about him or knew a lot like me. Like I feel like I just know him from the surface, and I know he was like a very motivated individual. Obviously super athletic, like dedicated, and from the documentaries that I saw, he seemed like a very honestly like a fucking genius. Like he just seems so smart. Like the way he talks, he cares so much about everything he does. Like awesome person. Like I wish it makes me wish I knew more about him, before now. So I don't know how many people will relate to that. I'm guessing a lot. Maybe I'm like a one-off. I'm just happen to be like not that into sports, but I know you and Coda know a lot more like about him, and I kind of want to know how he influenced you guys.
I think as of now, he still has influence on my life. I wouldn't say he's as strong as it used to be, but definitely when I'm trying to work hard, he's definitely one of the few people I go to motivate myself. Watching him play was probably like one of the best memories I've had of 2016 was his retirement game. He dropped 60 points. Just watching that live was probably one of the coolest shit I could ever experience.
Oh, that's crazy.
But
Yeah, he's crazy, man. Like
to me, he's
I
so
don't know.
much
I
more
just
than
can't
just a
believe I didn't.
basketball player.
It seems like it. Yeah. I mean, just like listening to him talk on some of those videos,
Like
he
he was
almost talks like a businessman. Like he knows just enough about everything to be really good at whatever he wants to be good at.
You know what I thought was a good use of it is somebody said that, so Kobe is a celebrity amongst celebrities. So even if you're a big celebrity, if Kobe was there, he's you just look at him like he's a celebrity to you, and you're a famous celebrity.
That's
So
crazy,
I like
dude.
that they use that term, that he's a celebrity amongst celebrities. But
He's the guy that they're trying to be like, that we're all trying to be like.
because
Does that
it's
make sense?
crazy, because it's like,
Oh.
man, you work so hard and you think you're working your butt off, but then it's like you watch and you hear about the work he put in, and you're just like, holy shit, dude, I'm not even touching the surface of hard work.
Yeah, he was very disciplined, man. But what I really like about him, like from what I've noticed, is that he's very systematic. It seems like he has a process for everything he does, and he will tell you why and how he came up with it, and it doesn't seem to change. It's the same process. Like he bases his decisions on the same principles when he's talking about what kind of people he would hire if he owned a business. People who are brilliant and obsessive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How often do people actually know what they're looking for? They just kind of blurt out the same stuff that everyone else says, and he didn't. He knew exactly what he was looking for.
I think it's also too, he picks people that love what they do. Because if you don't love what you do, are you really going to give it your all? You know what I mean?
Right. Oh. Oh. I'm getting double teamed.
That's what she said.
Sorry, bud. Oop, got them both. Look at that. Just took him out. You know what would be crazy? Like, so you were, I think it'd be like super cool to learn multiple languages, and you guys were saying that Kobe knew how to speak multiple languages, right?
Guess not. Yeah.
Sorry, I was
Kobe
in
knew
an
how to speak
intense
multiple
battle.
languages. He spoke Italian, English, Spanish. He taught himself how to speak Spanish, I think. I read somewhere that he taught himself a language so he could talk trash to the opposing team.
No way.
Yeah.
Right here, he only
What the heck?
Yeah, he learned multiple languages, and yeah, I had heard the same thing. He had done it just to talk trash
To Tony Park.
Yeah,
Dude, that's freaking OG right there. That's gangster.
but he used to also too, like, cause he had a teammate, Pau Gasol, and they both were, cause Kobe's originally I think he was born in Philadelphia, and then he moved to Italy, so he knew Italian.
Kobe
So-
lived in Italy?
Yeah, he lived in Italy,
Yeah.
and that's where he
Until he
learned
was
how to
like
speak
13 or
Italian.
something like that.
Wait, so he was born in Philly, and then he moved to Italy
he was
at
9.
what age?
I
Born.
think he was born in Philly, and then when he was like barely an infant, he had moved to Italy because his dad played in the NBA, but his dad went and played overseas, and so that's why he had moved overseas in Italy.
Oh,
That's something that's really interesting. Is I was listening, I think maybe earlier this week, about Kobe talking about when he first came. The kids here were a lot bigger and stronger than the kids in Italy. So like his first season as basketball in the United States, he didn't score a single point or something like that.
Oh yeah,
And then he went on to be literally one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
it was when he was 11 years old, I believe.
Yeah, he was 11.
It seems like it's always like that. Like that literally sounds like a movie where you hear about that one kid that just like sucked at whatever it was that he was getting into, but he had so much drive, it didn't matter how bad he sucked. It didn't matter if he was like smaller or slower or whatever it was. He had so much work ethic that he ended up becoming like a legend, right? That literally sounds like Kobe right now, the way you guys said that.
Yeah, he did some pretty astonishing things. Like, and that's just crazy, man. You just listen to his interviews, you listen to how he speaks, and I know Kodo was kind of hitting on this a little bit, but like, he's got one of those voices where it's like when he talks, you have to listen. You have to hear what he's saying.
Yeah, he does. He
Like
really does. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. You can't ever, like, I don't know. You can hear him talk and you just know, you're like, that's Kobe.
He's very well spoken, and it's almost like he never really stutters, or he always knows what he's gonna say next.
Yeah, that's literally what I was thinking while I watched the interviews. Like,
Which is crazy because I think
he has an answer to everything, and he's not guessing. He's telling you, like, he's already thought about the question you're asking him before you ask him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, man, this guy's genius.
But
Yeah.
just kind of going into like some of the things that he stood for. So like, we talked about hard work a little bit about like with him, and like, man, I don't know. I think about what was it was our first podcast, right? When you were talking about my work ethic, and you're like, oh man, you got an insane work ethic and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy to me to think that it's like, man, like if I have a great work ethic, like you just sit back and you see his, it's just insane. For like, because he has one interview where he does, and he talks about how the more work you put in now, then the further ahead of everybody else you're always going to be, because he says, you know, if I were to start my day at 9 a.m. or something like that, and I wake up and I start my day, then basically, I get a workout in at noon, right? Workout from noon to 2 or something. Come home. After my workout, I go get some rest, go back and I get a second workout later that day, maybe like 7 o'clock, 7 to 9. And he talks about that and he says, okay, so I'm getting 2 workouts a day, but what if I start my workouts, what if I wake up at 3 a.m., work out at 5 a.m. till 7, get some rest, go back, work out from noon to 2, go home, get a rest, go back, work out from 6 to 8, you know? And he talks about how waking up earlier like that, adding one more workout to his day puts him one more workout ahead of everybody else. So he says, you know, basically, if somebody spends one summer working their butts off where they work out 4 times a day, it doesn't matter because you've been working out 365 days a year, 3 times a day, because you got up early. So because that one guy puts in an extra workout during the summer, doesn't matter. He's not catching up to you.
Dang, man.
And it's like to have that kind of a mindset that it's like you're thinking in a competitive way of, yeah, it's just insane. And I don't know if you saw the video or if you guys have heard the story about him with Jay Williams, I think is his name.
Jay Williams.
It's like one of his most popular stories about.
He asked Kobe why he works hard.
Yeah. Well, he went and Jay Williams was playing against Kobe and Shaq. He went to the courts early, and he basically saw Kobe there already working out. And so Jay was like, "All right, you know, I put in some time before the game because I wanted to have a good game because we're playing Kobe, Shaq, we're playing the Lakers, the championship Lakers." And
right.
So he talks about how he did all that, and he's like, you know, the whole time I'm there, Kobe's on the other side of the gym working out, and he's working out hard, like. And he says Kobe worked out, and Jay was like, you know, I finally decided, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna call it good, so I have enough energy for the game. Basically, he calls it good, and Kobe continues to work out for an extra like 25 minutes after Jay does. And then later that night, Kobe drops 40 points against him. And
no shit.
After the game, Jay said, you know, I had to know, like I went and asked Kobe, and I said, hey, you know, why were you in the gym? Like, why were you in the gym like that, working out and all that stuff? And Kobe told him, I was in the gym because I saw you come in, and I wanted you to know that no matter how hard you worked, you would not outwork me.
No way.
And I'm like,
dude, that's so fucking dope. That's hard right there, man. That's like, he's like, watching you type thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like to think that way, and then it's like, you're just like, you want to show how much more of an edge you have over somebody, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just like the ultimate, like, gangster move right there.
Dude, that's crazy, man. He had mad discipline, like, definitely obsessive. You have to be. Like, there's no way you would want something that bad without being completely obsessed with it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But the beauty in it is that he obsessed over something that made him like a better person. You know what I mean? Because it's everything that I would say so. Everything that he went through, like, kind of molded him into the person he became. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he did good with it. Like, one of the documentaries that I was watching, well, it was an interview he had with somebody. He was talking about how one thing he really cares about is, like, his image. And he believes that I don't know if he said everyone or just himself, but he believes in having a clean image. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I almost feel like maybe that's why he was like the celebrity amongst celebrities, because like while some celebrities are really cool and whatnot, they didn't quite have like the image that Kobe had. You know, or like the values that he shared, and they didn't really care about things that he cared about, and in the way he cared about them, like he actually cared, you know?
Yep. But then, like, think of it from like a personal perspective, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And think about, like, man, like, how hard would it be to put that kind of work in, you know what I mean? But it's just like, because think of it right now. Like think about something that you love, something you love to do.
Music.
Right? You love music.
Yeah.
But like take a step back and then look at yourself and compare it to what Kobe did, and then ask yourself again, do I truly love music? Because I'm like, we talked a little bit, well, in our upcoming episode, we talk a little bit about love and all that kind of stuff. And like, I don't know, like the way that Kobe was with the things that he did, that was love. Like he had true love and passion for what he was doing. Versus like, you look at the average person, and the average person's like, man, I love to make music, or I love to play football, or I love to work out, and I love to do this. But it's like, man, but do you love it the way that Kobe loved, loved what he did? Because like, Kobe loved basketball, and he gave it everything he had. He gave it everything he physically had, everything he mentally had. Like he gave himself entirely over to the game. And then he talks about it. When he stepped away, he had no problem stepping away because he knew in his heart there was nothing else he had left to give. And that's what mattered most to him, was that he gave everything he possibly could have given.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, because that guy, he didn't stop. Even when his body would tell, like, okay, so another part of this, like, I watched quite a few videos. There was, he was sharing this story about, what game was it, dude? It was an epic game, I think, where he messed up his ankle. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
He had a couple games where he had messed up his ankle. There's
Wait,
the
okay,
Achilles
so he
injury.
did
Is that the one you're talking about?
that one. Yeah, he was talking about how like that happened, and he basically like forced himself through it to keep playing the game, and then scored like I don't know how many points.
So, I'll tell you like real quick that Achilles
Okay.
injury game was one of like the most motivational games, or just things in general, that I've ever seen in my life.
This sounds good.
Because anybody who does like athletics or anything like that, like imagine you snap the tendon, so you snap your Achilles tendon, completely snapped,
Right.
100% gone. A lot of people who snap an Achilles tendon, they can't even walk after.
You can't even walk, probably, right?
Yeah, and this guy snaps his Achilles tendon, gets up, still shoots his free throws, and then walks himself off the court.
How does somebody do that?
To see that, like, it was one of the most bittersweet moments of my life, because I watched that happen, and all I could think, like, at the time, you know what I mean? Like, you're just sitting there thinking, like, oh my gosh, like, I hope that he did not hurt his Achilles. I hope to God he did not hurt his Achilles. So, like, at the time, as a fan of Kobe, like, I wasn't thinking about the other end of it. But then it's like later that year when Nike, I think it was Nike or somebody came out with a commercial about it. And it was like, it was this commercial about Kobe, and it was like, you showed us 81 points as possible. You showed us Mamba mentality as possible. And it goes through all these different things like that, where it says, you showed us all, anything is possible. And then like at the very end, it shows him shoot his free throws with the torn Achilles. And then it basically says, now show us again. And then it's got, then like the Nike sign comes up and it says Mamba mentality or something.
So did they know it was torn at that moment, or was that something they found out later on after like he actually got checked and everything?
They found out later. They all had a good idea that what it was, because when you tear an Achilles, you basically feel like you lost control of your foot pretty much. Like you can tell. And like the second he injured and he rolled over, he was rubbing his Achilles. So I mean, they had a pretty good idea that that's what it was. They were pretty sure of it, but they didn't actually know for sure till they did the not X-rays, but whatever it's called after.
That's so crazy, bro. The interview I was watching, he was explaining that like when that happened, I think he went to the locker room and he talked to like one of his kids, and they were like obviously like worried for him, right? And he didn't want to show them like weakness or anything like that, and so he was like, "It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright." Telling him it can stop him any other day. except that day, and he just decided to do it.
Yeah, that's
Like that mentality, you don't meet many people that are like that. Like
yeah.
I don't I could name off maybe a few, but I got to think about it. You know what I mean? Because most people don't even have the motivation like to go to the gym
Yep.
a couple times a week. You know what I mean? And that's most of us. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm someone who works out every single day and I'm fit and have a six pack. Yeah, that's not me. I
So
don't go to the gym,
real quick,
but I choose not to. You know?
I want to read
I
real
don't.
quick his this was his tweet after like the night, basically that night of after he tore his Achilles. I just want to read his tweet real quick. So his tweet basically says, "This is such BS. All the training and sacrifice just flew out the window with one step that I've done millions of times. The frustration is unbearable. My anger is rage. Why the hell did this happen? Makes no damn sense. Now I'm supposed to come back from this and be the same player or better at 35. How in the world am I supposed to do that? I have no clue. Do I have the consistent will to overcome this thing? Maybe I should break out the rocking chair and reminisce on the career that was. Maybe this is how my book ends. Maybe Father Time has defeated me. Then again, maybe not. It's 3:30 a.m. My foot feels like dead weight. My head is spinning from the pain meds, and I'm wide awake. Forgive my venting, but what's the purpose of social media if I won't bring it to you real? No image. Feels good to vent, let it out. To feel as if this is the worst thing ever, because after all the venting, a real perspective sets in. There are far greater issues/challenges in the world than a torn Achilles. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, find the silver lining, and get to work with the same belief, same drive, and same conviction as ever. One day, the beginning of a new career journey will commence. Today is not that day. If you see me in a fight with a bear, pray for the bear."
That's what he ended it on.
Yeah.
Man, that guy is beast. Kobe was determined, man. He did not let up.
Yeah. He was definitely something else, man.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Well, I'll tell you what. I want to be like that. When I have kids, I don't have kids yet, but he really cared about his kids because he saw like all kids, they're the next generation, like they're our future. So, some of the things I learned about him were that he really thought it was important to kind of double down on the kids rather than the adults because people be blowing money left and right on themselves,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but they're our future. So if we invest in them, then that's
Mm,
kind of like investing in yourself if you think about it.
he put so much commitment into a lot of different things, dude. Like, and that's the thing that's crazy is like he just like he put when he puts his mind to something, he was gonna do it, no matter what. And I think that showed when it's like when you retire from the NBA and you retire arguably like a top 10, top 5 player of all time in the history of the NBA, and then the first thing you do after that is you go win yourself an Oscar. Like freak, like drop the mic. Like that's what else can you even say?
Mm.
You're telling me this
Yeah, I
guy
bet he did too
literally
because the
can
way that
freaking
guy
do that?
talked. uh
Like that's just
You know what? I don't
insane.
even know if I've seen it. Actually, let me just pull it up real quick. What is it?
It's called Dear Basketball.
Let's see. I want to see this. What's it called again?
It's called Dear Basketball.
Dear basketball.
It's called Dear Basketball, a short story or something.
Dang man, he got an Oscar for this.
Yeah.
I think the most thing I respect about Kobe is he was great. He was athletic, everything. And like a lot of people can't be those things. Some people just aren't as athletic growing up. Some people aren't naturally tall. But what's the most inspiring is he trained his mind harder, if as hard, if not harder than his body. And
Yeah.
that's something I've probably never seen anybody else in sports do. And it's usually only the great ones that do that. But Kobe Bryant was just a fucking genius.
He really was, man. You can tell. Like I literally, I was thinking that after one video, like this guy's different. He's smart. Like he knows exactly what he wants. He knows what he means. He knows what he says. Every question that the guy asked him, he had an answer like instantly. And it wasn't like, oh, he had to think about it for a second. He was trying to figure it out. Like I said earlier, it's like he already thought about it. And he remembers, you know what I mean? We can think about stuff, but if it's not something you're really committed to, then it's just another thought.
Yep.
He was his thoughts were definitely collected.
Damn, that shit's deep.
Yeah, it is. Dang, man, I'm not gonna lie, like I don't know if it's just like watching movies or videos, but I don't know, man. I get all emotional after watching stuff like that.
Oh, I know what you mean, dude. They played this on his last game he ever played. It it's even like more emotional now because it's like now that he's passed, you hear all that stuff and you're just like, man, that's so nuts. But like, you see what I'm saying though? That's what I was saying earlier. Is like you hear that and it's like, man, like when I heard that, I had to step back and be like, do I really love football? So I'm like, the way he describes his relationship with basketball makes me
Mhm.
feel like I don't love football. I like football.
Yeah,
This guy fucking
literally.
loved basketball. This guy loved it with everything he had, and I'm like, I can't stop right now and say that I've given everything I have to football. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah, man. You can just feel it, like his passion and like his love for it. Like when he talks about, like in that little story, he mentions like giving it his heart. They asked for his hustle, but he gave him his heart because with it came so much more. Dang, that's deep. That yeah, man. It's it's almost like it's amazing to think about, like in his regard. But then I look at myself, and it makes me feel like I suck, man. I'm like, dude, what am I doing? Like this guy gave one thing, everything, and I'm sure there's a lot of others out there that are like just like me that are like a do-it-yourselfer. I try to do everything on my own. That doesn't mean it's a weakness. Some people call it like a jack all of trades, master of none. And that's in that regard, it kind of makes me feel like, okay, well, great. you know, I,
Dude, that's
I
so
I give a little bit of passion to a lot of things.
yeah, yeah. But that's crazy
So
because like the fact that you use that statement exactly, you're a jack of all trade but a master of none. I watched a TV show last night that they said that, dude, and that statement had me thinking all night long. Like I kept sitting there
mhm,
thinking to myself like, am I doing the same thing that you're talking about? Like am I putting myself in too many buckets instead of just focusing on one or two major things and making myself great at those things
mhm,
versus okay, I'm good at Fortnite, I'm good at basketball, I'm good at football, I'm good at podcasting, I'm good at, you know, gaming on YouTube or whatever
mhm,
versus being like, man, if I stop focusing on six different things and I focus on two or three, could I be go from good to great? And yeah, maybe I fall off on gaming on YouTube or maybe I fall off on basketball or whatever, but it's like
mhm.
I could be a great family man for my wife and kids. I could be a great podcast person and I could be a great football star. You know what I mean? Or whichever ones I
Right.
choose. But it definitely gets you thinking, like for sure it does. And it
And it's
definitely
not like not to be a sob story. Like I'm not. I don't want people's pity. I don't want people to feel bad for me. You know. But I
Yeah.
just say it because it's a true feeling. It's almost like it. Let me put it like this: listening to him, it's like an eye opening experience because I see what he does and I hear what he says, and those are all the things that I think most of us dream about doing. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter if it's basketball, if it's music, if it's like any kind of hobby, gaming, whatever it is, we all want to be that.
Yeah.
But the people who are actually about it like he was are the ones who say it the way he said it. Because unless you've gone through what he's gone through or given something like 100% like that, we don't actually feel the same way he does about it. That's why we can tell he's so passionate about it just by listening to him.
Yeah.
Because he talks different, because he does it different. Yeah, so it's like I ain't trying to have like anyone like, pity for me, but it definitely opens my eyes, and it makes me feel like um maybe it's just our definitions of success that are different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's story is different. Like he said, he's talking about his book, right? We all got our own story,
Yep.
but his is definitely a Oscar-worthy story. you know?
Yep, for sure. So I think like we'll kind of just wrap it up, but I think what we should do just to wrap it up is like
Okay.
maybe just take like I mean take however long, take as short as you want or as long as you want, but I think each one of us should just take it like a couple seconds or a couple minutes just to kind of like give a quick thing to like I don't know, anybody who's listening to Kobe himself to your loved ones, doesn't matter. Just speaking from you where how you feel right now, just kind of saying like all this talk about it, listening to that. And the reason I kind of want to wrap it up now is because I feel like we're all kind of like on an emotional roller coaster listening to his dear basketball and all
For
that
real.
stuff. So like I just want to like let's wrap it up now while our emotion is into it. Let's just what I mean. Each one of us take a quick little segment and just kind of talk about like just I don't know how you feel about him, how you feel about what he said, how you feel about how that can relate to you. Just anything about like what you feel about it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think maybe we start with Coda because we haven't heard a lot from Coda. So I think Coda go ahead and start it off and
I think the thing I love most about watching Kobe is how it reminds me how much more I can still improve in so many aspects of different things. And it's like watching Kobe, he's not, he's like cocky, but he's got like a swagger to his cockiness. He doesn't
Right.
shove it in your face that he's great at basketball. He's like really humble about it. And he probably knows that so many people look up to him, but he doesn't let it get to his head. So I guess it's kind of like he's like a role model to me of where I want to be. I could just kind of listen to him talk and everything and just kind of let him lead the way of where I want to be. But Kobe's probably like my favorite athlete, my first or second favorite athlete of all time. He's pretty close. Him and Walter Payton are definitely like neck and neck. But like I just hope I could be as passionate as something as Kobe was about basketball and his family.
agreed. You have anything else you want
Agreed.
to throw on top of there? Or?
No, no, I'm
Okay.
good.
All right, Yvonne, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say for me, being someone that I always just kind of saw Kobe like from the sidelines, I guess. Was never much into sports, but I always knew, it's Kobe. I always knew that it's Kobe. So he's that guy. He's that good. Just after like learning more about him, I'm definitely gonna take a lot more time like out of my life and learn more about him. And I think I'm gonna take with it whatever I can and run.
100%. Anything else?
I'd probably just say that, man. The guy's he's a genius.
No disagreements there. So, for me, just, me talking a little bit to Kobe himself, I don't know what everybody believes about with spirits and all that kind of stuff, but like I just want to I want to thank him because like he was a huge part of my life. You know, in football, the only two numbers I've ever worn is 8 and 24 for Kobe. He was a huge part of my work ethic. He was a huge part of my love for sports. He's a huge part of the greatness that I try to chase every day. Um, and I agree, 100% agree with what Coda said. Like I just hope that at the end of the day, whenever I decide to, I don't know, whenever I pass away or whenever I decide to give up football or I decide to give something up that I'm truly in love with, that I can step away feeling the same way he did, where I can just be like, like I have no regrets. Like I'm not sad or scared to leave this behind because I gave it everything I had, physically, mentally, emotionally. I gave everything that I could possibly give to it. So, and I also just appreciate too the like how much of a family man he is. Um, he was a great father for his daughters. He was a great husband for his wife, and so it's like for him to be able to balance those things where he could be, you know, the goat of basketball and be the goat of fatherhood. Like he was an idol for fathers to look up to. Um, you know, a quick story about why he flew in helicopters all the time was because of he wanted to find a way to commute through LA without being stuck in traffic for an hour and a half because he would miss his daughter's recitals or their school plays, and so he decided that's why he bought a helicopter, is because he wanted to be able to make it there in time but still be able to work on his craft. So it's like, you know what I mean, the dedication to
Mm-hmm.
for getting in that helicopter and for that being his reason is because he wanted to be there for what his daughters were doing, but he still wanted to be able to give everything he had to the craft. So for him to balance those things and for him to just figure it out a way to make it work is inspiring for me because that's tough to do, dude. I know from experience, like it's hard to balance football, it's hard to balance podcasting, it's hard to balance gaming, it's hard to balance family life, it's hard to balance all those things, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes it tough. And I just appreciate that because it gives me something to look up to where I'm just like, Kobe did it, so I know it's not impossible. I know that it is possible to find a balance and to be a great father and a great husband, but at the same time still be able to be great at the craft that you choose to do. So it's inspiring. It's awesome. I think a lot of it has relates to this podcast too. I don't want to speak for Coda or Yvonne, but I'm just like, I think that 100%, I believe that a lot of people probably listen to our podcast, or those who actually do listen to it, and they're like, man, these guys are going to do maybe, 5 episodes, and then we won't ever hear from them again. But I think something like this, like listening to this, seeing how Kobe does it, like, it's inspiring for us to keep pushing forward with the podcast. But because I think this episode alone, somebody could listen to it, and, they could either be inspired based off Kobe, off of what Yvonne says, off of what Coda says, or off of what I say. So for us to have a platform like this where we can talk about this kind of stuff and we can push out how we feel, the emotions, and people can relate to that, people can feel with us and feel that same kind of way, like
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing that we have that ability. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows too that like we're all three, I'm sure all three of us are going to have a Mamba mentality when it comes to doing this podcast. Like we're going to give it everything we have,
Oh
and
yeah.
we're going to give everybody raw emotion and try to let them feel how we feel. And I hope that this episode kind of gives them that ability to, is, episode one, I'm sure gave everybody the ability to laugh with us, and I hope this episode kind of just gives everybody that ability to kind of feel on an emotional level and on more of a real level for us.
Absolutely.
So, but
100%. I want to be more like Kobe. I'll tell you that.
exactly. So I think that's it. Then I think we'll wrap it up. Thank everybody who listened. Special edition episode, the Mamba Mentality episode. Um, Appreciate the love, the support, and you guys are gonna keep on hearing from us. Yvonne and Coda, what else you guys got?
Thank you very much for listening to what we talk about.
All right, thank you guys very much. I wasn't very talkative on this episode. I just kind of wanted to listen more than anything. But new episode dropping Friday at 7. Make sure to watch that. Thank you for watching.
All right, peace out, everybody.
All right.
See you on the next
Later.
episode.